Mom of one of my players almost gets him kicked out of my game. I run 2 D&D games. One I run at a local game shop. It is family friendly and I welcome anyone who can behave and take a shower. Second game is run at my house with me and my 4 oldest friends. We get drunk and screw around in the campaign. It's a campaign we have been running since 5e first came out and is very much built around our terrible humor. Very not public playspace friendly. New player is a nice 9-year-old kid named Simon. He loves playing in my public game and found out I run another game. Asked if he could join and I told him it wasn't really open to new players. He was cool about it. Simon is a good kid. Simon's mom found out later when she picked him up and tried to force him into my other game. I had to get the owner to help me calm her down and get her to leave. Simon was in tears apologizing. I felt so bad for him. Owner told mom if she ever set foot in his store again he'd ban her and Simon from the store and get the police involved if he had to. She left in a hurry and almost boned a car in her rush to leave. Simon's dad drops him off now. He came to me and the owner and begged our forgiveness. Turns out mom wanted Simon in my game as a form of babysitting so she could go out and party with her other terrible mom friends. We told him as long as it's him dropping Simon off there won't be any issues. He's a good kid. And I'd hate to lose our monk. Edit. Thanks for indulging in my drama sharing. Love the hobby. Simon is a great little dude. His dad is a great big dude. Glad to have met them. Thanks everyone for letting me spam replies and shoot the breeze. You're all great. Comments by Op. Same. My mother was a monster and I haven't spoken to her in a decade. That's why this hit me extra hard when I saw Simon crying. I saw myself 30 years ago in that boy and it broke my heart. I can't speak with 100% certainty, but it appears the marriage is on the rocks. Mom has regressed to party girl mode as a midlife crisis or something and dad is working 60+ hour weeks. He actually threatened to quit his job if they didn't change his schedule to give him more time with Simon because mom was failing so badly. She only took him if she could drop him off on us at the store or her mom for babysitting. She's garbage. Dude is crazy good looking. Like, where did all this bi curiosity come from? Good looking. And he's a really good dad to Simon. I figure he won't have issues finding a new partner. I need him to introduce me to some girls after he meets one lol. After somebody asked why the owner wanted to call the police she was getting closer to me and we were both worried she was going to do something. He did it to scare her off and it worked. I'm twice her size with no fear that I could restrain her, but still that was not a fun situation. We both agree it probably wasn't a necessary thing to do though. We were just worried. Update 1. Hey everyone. It has been pure chaos the last few days but after everyone was so nice I figured I'd let you guys know what has happened since it's mostly good news and should put some minds at ease. I ran into Simon's dad and his sister Anna at the store and they invited me out to lunch to chat. Simon's doing pretty well all things considered. Dad says he and mom were already most of the way through the divorce process but he and his, almost, ex-wife agreed to keep it quiet until they had finalized some agreements. Mom showed her ass yet again and basically admitted she didn't want Simon very often and negotiated for some money in exchange for giving full custody to dad with a few holiday visitations, if she can make it. She's moving a few states away to live with some of her friends from college. He doubts they see her more than once a year if that. He said it went as well as he could have hoped. He's just glad it's almost over. Auntie Anna, as Simon calls her, is dad's sister. She's stepping in to help with Simon while dad juggles everything. She brought him to the shop this weekend and she hung out by me while I ran the game so she could learn. Everyone had a good time. Even got a few giggles from Anna so I'll consider that a GM's job well done for first impressions of the hobby. Shame the first RP she had to see was me as Marty the farty lizard folk merchant NPC that they ran into last session. Lots of hissing and farting noises out of me for 15 minutes. Simon was able to pass enough con saves to buy what the party needed from Marty, discounts in exchange for risk of poison damage, and they tricked the corrupt town guard into accidentally arresting themselves due to an elaborate performance by the bard and Simon's monk. Game went well. Anna and I talked while Simon looked at all the dice sets for an hour after the game. She's been pulled into a parent group of parents of kids in Simon's class. I guess Simon has all the other kids wanting to try playing and since my private game is on hiatus for at least 6 months I offered to run one if the parents were comfortable with it. I end up getting added to the group chat and Anna's house is where we're gaming. Next day Anna and I met up for lunch and I helped her put together a gaming space in her living room. A few of the moms came by to drop off some snacks and to introduce themselves in person. I feel like I've been adopted into a family of families but I don't even have a family of my own. Everyone has been great. I'm so glad Simon is surrounded by these people and not people like his mom. The kids were all very well behaved. Anna and I were a bit nervous being the chaperones for a bunch of kids, but Simon's friends are great. They all had a blast making characters and doing the test encounters I had for them. There's a girl that made certain she was always seated next to Simon and barely takes her eyes off him. She has a huge crush on him, but don't think he even realizes what's going on. It's adorable. Parents were all happy with game night, and honestly I liked running for all kids way more than I had expected. Anna and I agreed we were fine with doing this regularly, so now Anna and I are the game masters to everyone. Also, I'm now Uncle Caleb to Simon. Not sure what I did to earn the title, and I definitely didn't get emotional when he called me that. So that's about it. I still run 2 games. I've been adopted by a 9-year-old, and I've taken over Anna's living room with minis and battle mats. Simon is an incredible little dude and I'm glad to have met him and his amazing family, one parent excluded. Edit. Thanks again folks. Like I said in a comment earlier, I don't foresee there being anything else to update on that would be relevant to this sub, so barring some other bizarre incident happening to me while I'm gaming, I suppose this is me fading into the background. I think I smell something. Oh god, Marty's back. Edit 2. Just gonna sneak this in here because people are actually messaging me like crazy and I want to just state my status with Anna. I am deeply infatuated with her. I could just go on about her like a love-struck puppy, but I'm embarrassing myself enough as it is. We've got a busy next couple weeks ahead of us, but luckily for me a lot of that busy time will be spent with her working on things for Simon and the game nights. So for now I'm gonna let things be. Give us time to know each other better. We've been texting pretty regularly the last few days, and I'm starting to think there's something here. Once things calm down I fully intend to ask her on a date. Too many folks in my life and on here telling me I'd be an idiot not to. Also spoke with Drew, Simon's dad, this morning and he's doing alright. Said he'll be better in a few weeks when he's able to take some vacation. Gonna take Simon on a father-son trip for a few days. He's exhausted. Even with the reduced workload he's just now getting time to rest. Poor guy needs it. Comments by Op. Commenter 1. If Auntie Anna and Op don't end up having a few dates. Op, I wish. I've rolled enough dice in my lifetime to know when I don't have a chance. Commenter 2, anyway, good for Simon, good for Simon's dad, good for you Op, good for the girl who digs the kid, and good for everybody. Op, thank you. I'm optimistic for every one of them. Obviously Simon is still torn apart about his mom, but he's gonna heal. Everybody is here for him. And yeah, little kid puppy love is just so cute. Apparently she bribed another girl to switch with her so she could be his art partner. She's a clever one. Never had any kids regularly in my life as an adult, so I was really nervous running the public table with kids at first. But I've been very lucky and have really enjoyed it. No major issues have come up and the little things are pretty quickly forgotten because 9-year-olds aren't dumb, but they are easily distracted. As for how the interacting game, when I made a character obviously comedic they went full chaos. When the character spoke to them more seriously and maturely they responded in kind. I'm not saying the warlock didn't almost get arrested for attempting to speak with animals at the butcher just to see if it would work, but mostly checked chaos is fine, right? I've made an edit, but I'll just respond here too. I really like Anna and plan on asking her out after we get through a busy week or two ahead of us. I'm being teased from all angles on this. Even Simon and Drew have made comments to me about it. How does this nonsense spread so fast? If news is good, I'd be willing to update on this stuff, but where would I even post it? I haven't spoken to the mods, but I doubt they'd want my updates when there's no horror story left. Update 2. It's been a week. I've known this woman for about a week and I've already fallen hard. Infatuation levels are all set to max. She's incredible. Gonna be spending a lot of time with her for a few weeks and I and a lot of folks we know are saying I should ask her out. I'm going to. I just wanna let us get through this busy point and take a bit of time to get to know her more first before I do that. Update 3. Hello everyone. While this is an update originating from a post on horror stories, there isn't much of a horror story anymore. Just some updates on my situation and the people in my life. I wasn't expecting as much interest after the initial drama, but I've also been made aware just how much of a dense goober I am, partially thanks to folks on Reddit pointing some things out. My nephew Simon is the coolest little dude in the universe. His interest in board games is starting to really take off ever since Anna brought him over to my place and he saw my shelf of games. He absolutely loves Ticket to Ride. I gave it to him and he wants to play it next game night. The public game party is now chasing the big bad through a few portals leading to a chronomancer's domain in the stomach of a kraken. So that should be fun. Simon has expressed interest in learning to DM. I'll teach him everything I know. I would gladly play in any campaign that boy runs. He said he has some ideas and I intend to help him make those into dice-based reality. As for how he's handling the situation with his mom, Simon is doing well, but he struggles. He's very clingy toward Drew. I'm betting this is normal for kids in Simon's situation. Simon has Drew, Anna, and a good head on his shoulders. He'll be fine. Drew and Simon spend a lot of their time together just doing little projects. They're currently putting together a puzzle while watching Simon's shows. Drew told me this was a once-a-month thing due to his work schedule. Now it's several times a week and they both love it. Drew did need a little time to decompress from dad mode, so one night he and I went out to a bar for a few drinks. He told me about his plans to take Simon out of town on a father-son trip. Simon's just excited the hotel has a pool. Drew says he doesn't plan to date or do anything anytime soon. The ink's still dry on the divorce papers. I think single dad is what I want to be right now. He wants to focus on Simon and figuring out what life looks like for them going forward. As for Anna, she was initially busy balancing work, Simon, game nights, and a bunch of other responsibilities since she stepped up to help Drew. Things stabilized a lot faster than anyone expected, with the divorce resolving smoothly and Simon being the easiest child in the world to take care of. Now that Drew is using vacation time, she has had a bit more free time until he goes back to full-time work. So she's been catching up on some of her hobbies like baking and playing games on her Switch. I had to come over and run the cables to hook it up to her TV because she couldn't reach. She also needed my help setting up her Wi-Fi when she got a new router. And she has had multiple issues with her laptop that I've had to resolve for her. That woman is brilliant in every other regard, but truly clueless when it comes to tech. But I was paid for my ticket resolutions in homemade meals, so I'll call it even. The more time I spent with Anna, the more confident I got that asking her out was the right call. So I asked her out and she said yes. Unfortunately, Anna gets migraines semi-regularly and one hit her just before our date. I came over and she was visibly miserable but trying to convince me it was okay and we'd still go out. I practically had to order her to go get into bed. Got her migraine pills and some water for her. Blacked out the curtains and told her to call if she needed anything. She called me a few hours later asking for something to eat because she was feeling better, so I got her some dinner and ate with her. She kept trying to apologize, but I told her to make it up to me with another date next day, which we were able to actually go on. It was a fantastic night. Had some amazing food and walked around town and talked. Then went back to drop her off and we sat out in my car for another hour and talked. The last thing she said before getting out and running in was, "You're my boyfriend now, by the way," before shutting the door. I had no intention to argue even if she'd left me time to. Since then we've gone on a few more dates with our free time and we're both really happy with how things are going. It turns out Anna was a few days away from asking me out herself if I didn't make a move. She also hasn't stopped teasing me about Marty and his farts. And I told her about the werewolf Pierre Wolf I'm using soon and she won't stop patting my head and calling me, "Lo good boy." I'm not giving her character previews anymore. I guess that's it. In the last few weeks my life has changed so drastically it's insane. This may be strange to say, but thank you for sharing in this internet sharing circle thing that this became for me. Comments by Op. She confirmed half of the things she's asked me to do since we've met were partial excuses to hang out. So I guess you're right there. She also considers the migraine incident to be our first date. Yes, she was exaggerating her issues to spend more time with me, she confirmed. And she won't let me live down the sheer volume of signs I missed. She's giving me an excuse to shop for more dice. This is financially dangerous. Update 4. I've been putting off clearing out my old storage unit for a year now. Asked my girlfriend if she'd help me clean it out and I'd take her to lunch after. I hadn't looked in some of these boxes in the years I've had them since high school, but for some reason was confident I had thrown anything too embarrassing out years ago. Well, I was taking a box back to the car when I hear my girlfriend start cackling. I come back and she is holding up a bag of personal time reading material I had from when I was in high school and had to take trips to a family cabin with no internet for weeks at a time. I was a teenager, don't judge me too much. She's laughing so hard she was crying and my face was burning so hot I could have cooked an egg on it. She spent lunch snickering and making fun of me, and she made sure to point out how similar many of those girls looked to her. I then had to explain that 15-year-old me would have high-fived me until his arm fell off if he knew you were who he'd get to date in 20 years. I however would not have trusted that hand. I know where it has been. Comments by Op. Yeah, she definitely took it well. Haven't heard her laugh like that before. Pretty funny after the initial shame wore off. Honestly, just hearing her laugh makes the embarrassment worth it. If it keeps her laughing, she can tell that story to everyone she ever meets for the rest of my life. Update 5. Short update before I get back to work. Had breakfast with Drew, Anna, Simon, and his mom. She's just left to move into her new place out of state. Simon had wanted to see her before she left because he loves his mom, but she was impatient, so we all had to get up early and do breakfast instead of lunch. She proceeded to complain to Drew about something divorce-related, give Simon a gift card, a hug, and an empty apology about moving so far away. Simon got maybe 10 minutes of time with her after we ate before she rushed herself out the door. Though not before implying I am only hanging out with Drew and Simon to get with Anna. Drew and Simon are just deflated and saddened. Drew really thought she was going to do better at least this once before she left. Simon is currently locked up in his room. And Anna almost had to be physically restrained from chasing her out into the driveway with her flip-flop in hand. What an awful monster of a woman. Reminds me of my mother.